11 years ago.
What are some of your early memories?
I would say my earliest memory is the first day, or the first day after my first lesson, where I went home, and at that time we only had like a small electric keyboard, and I remember struggling to learn Mary Had a Little Lamb, but I got it eventually. And some other memories, I remember the first lesson with my previous teacher, where it was sort of just an introduction, and I remember feeling extremely attached to her from the start. And I guess another one is sort of unfortunate recital experience where I had a memory lapse and I had to stop and start again, but it was a good learning experience because, you know, it's good to know that those things always happen, and it was a good thing to come back from. So yeah.
I've heard that pianists practice the most of any musicians. How many hours a day do you practice?
Well, I've been trying to up my practice time recently because I've gotten more serious, but nowadays it's probably between 2 and 3 hours a day.
From whom do you take piano lessons?
I take lessons from Rainey Laquona, who is the head of faculty at the university.
How did you start working with Rainey Laquona?
My previous teacher, I had worked with her for a long time, and I was sort of starting to grow out of what she could do for me. She was great, but so my parents started looking for other teachers, and a friend of my dad's told him about Dr. Laquona, and we set up a meeting with her, and it was, it was great from the first lessons. Yeah.
When did you become serious about piano?
Probably after the pandemic, when I started playing more advanced music, and I realized, like, wow, this is something that I can play. And through discovering this more complex music that I was playing, I started listening to more classical music, and the whole world opened up, and I was, interested in everything and wanted to play everything. So, yeah.
What do you enjoy most about being a pianist?
I would say through the process of learning a piece, there's sort of the beginning and the end. The beginning is just learning the notes, and the end is a performance. I would say the period right before the performance is my favorite, when you're practicing and like you've really gotten into the piece, and you sort of know what you're looking for, and it's all going really great. Like those practice sessions where you just play, like I can play for 3 hours and it just all feels great, is probably my favorite part.
What are your favorite practice methods?
My favorite practice method is probably practicing rotation and looseness of my body. If there's an arpeggio, for example, like that was bad, but it's like practicing just how your wrist moves and how it can be loose in your arms and shoulders as well. It's all a lot of stuff to think about, but I really like feeling very loose while I play because it makes it all a lot easier, but it feels great as well.
What do you do to warm up?
Usually I kind of just do some scales, and I do some. I used to do but I've sort of unfortunately kind of stopped doing those as of late. But yeah, and also I will practice slow music because especially in the winter when your hands are cold, you can't really just fly into very technical stuff. You have to warm up your hands. So I'll play a slow section from one of my pieces or an old slow piece that I would play. So yeah.
Do you tend to practice in sort of separated chunks or all at once?
It really depends. I think I'm usually more productive when I do it all at once. If I go just 3 hours all at once, I think I usually get the most work done. Sometimes, though, depending on what I have going on during the day, like if I'm busy in the middle of the day, then maybe I'll do an hour and a half in the morning and then an hour and a half later, or like an hour here, 2 hours there. But oftentimes, I find that the later practice session, when I do the 2 chunks, is less productive, so I usually like to do it all in one.
So do you practice before school?
Sometimes it depends on, again, if something is keeping me from practicing after school, then I'll go in early and practice. But yeah.
How do you balance being a student and a musician?
Well, I honestly, I feel like I'm pretty capable of balancing the two, because since piano has been extremely important, I've always made it a priority in my life. Like when I'm planning out my day or my week, I always sort of know where I'm gonna do piano and where I'm gonna do academics. And so I've really been able to sort of create a good balance in between the two, where I'm able to get both done at a pretty consistent level.
Are you in any ensembles at City High?
Yes, I am in wind ensemble and jazz ensemble.
Can you tell me a little bit about those?
Well, so in those I play saxophone, and that I started playing in 5th grade when everyone started the music programs at school, and I, over time, I developed pretty consistently, and wind ensemble is an extremely fun ensemble to be in. It's really high level music and work, and it's very fun. Jazz ensemble is my personal favorite extracurricular thing that I'm involved in, because it's a similar level to wind ensemble in jazz, but I personally like jazz more when I'm playing saxophone, and so it's extremely fun environment, but also very high level. So yeah.
What do you think is special or different about the piano in comparison to other instruments?
There are so many things, but I think the one of the things that make it really special is that you can see all of the notes. Whereas if you're on violin or saxophone or something, you just have your fingers, and what comes out are, what you hear are the notes that you play. But with the piano, you can see everything. Like this I know is a C, and this I know is a G. And also because, you can use both hands while playing it. So I think that and just all of the mechanics of the piano, like how you play it, just make it sort of possible to do things on the piano that you can't do on other instruments. And I think that makes it really special.
Do you have a favorite composer?
It's probably basic, but I would say Frédéric Chopin. He sort of revolutionized the piano, and his piano music is always my favorite to play because it's so beautiful and complex, but it always lays extremely well in the hands because he was a pianist. He knew the piano better than anyone who came before him, and yeah.
Can you tell when a composer is a pianist or not, based off how they write?
Well, I think most times you can. There are some exceptions, but for like I said before, Chopin and Liszt, who was the other piano composer, or Rachmaninoff, they were the best pianists pretty much, and so their music, while extremely difficult, you can tell is written by pianists, whereas other composers who were not, pianists, like Antonin Dvorak or someone like Tchaikovsky, I guess. Their music is a little bit more awkward in the hands, but then there are exceptions. I mean, Brahms was a pianist, but a lot of his music is extremely awkward. So yeah, but most of the times you can tell.
You mentioned earlier sort of the difference between performing and practicing, or sort of starting to mention that. So are there methods of practicing that help you be able to perform under different circumstances when you're in the practice room?
I think all practicing is in a way sort of preparing you for the performance. I mean, sometimes just depending on what my circumstance is, I'll practice in different environments, which sort of help me for different performance environments. But like, for example, the competition environment, which I've been getting into more recently, that's sort of very like just closed and like you have to, it's like a lot of pressure. And so what I've been practicing a lot for that is recording myself playing, because it sort of makes me feel like someone is watching, like someone is constantly like picking up on what you're doing, and so that really helps me, I think, when coming to a performance. And it also just helps me like get through a whole entire piece and like be able to have that experience of playing the whole thing and like what it's like and what I need to work on. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you get performance anxiety?
A pretty low amount. I would say I have a teacher at this summer camp that I went to told me, he would always tell me that by the time you get to a performance, all of the hard work is over. You've already done all of the work. And so that has always helped me, like, as I walk out on stage, knowing that I have practiced hours and done, you know, all of the hard work to get to that place. And so if you're there, then the piece is ready. And so you just have fun while you perform. So.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the organization you founded, MIC.
Yeah, so the mic was really sort of just it wasn't even really an idea. Jesse Varner, a fellow student of mine, he texted a group of us and basically just said like, hey, I want to start a nonprofit. I don't know what. So we met, and over the course of 2 hours, we sort of came up with an idea that we wanted to do, which what we do is we try to organize performance opportunities or concert opportunities for people who apply, and so usually they're City High students, and so we let them sort of get out there, they let them get performance opportunities, and then profits go to local charitable causes around Iowa City. So yeah.
Do you have any advice for younger musicians who want to improve?
I would say always play music that you like, because obviously if you're young, then your teacher is probably choosing a lot of pieces for you, but I think it's always important to play music that while it still challenges you and makes you improve, you enjoy playing. And that's sort of what I have always done in these past few years. I've always looked for pieces that I know are going to help me improve, but I also just really love and enjoy and would love practicing. And that's, I think, a big reason why I have improved so much, because playing music that, you know, I love to hear myself play, like I love hearing when I play it, just makes me want to play more. And so yeah, just play stuff that you love.
Do you have plans for after high school?
Yeah, I want to major in piano performance. I think I don't want to go necessarily to a conservatory, because that is probably too much music. I want to have other options in case music doesn't end up panning out, but I've been looking at double major, double degree programs at certain schools, but piano is definitely